We originally had the title over the character's face, but the audience thought it would be more effective if we had some interaction video.
Originally here we had a lot of long shots of the characters, but the audience felt that we needed more close-ups and more shot reverse shots to show the characters' emotions, which would match the mood and overall tone of the music video.
The devil this morning, looking in the mirror.
In our first draft we had this bit in slow motion, but our audience felt that it works better when it's not in slow motion, so we removed it.
My rum on my tongue with the warning to help me see myself clearer. Never meant to start a fire, I never meant to make you bleed. I'll be a better man today. I'll be good, I'll be good. And I'll love the world like I should. Yeah, I'll be good, I'll be good.
Originally in the lineup, in the lead up to the shot, we had a lot of bass track cuts in between, but we felt that it sort of detracted away from the whole prospect of going home, which meant to be quite an important moment in the story. So we changed that and put a lot more narrative. And also, just after this on the door scene, audience weren't entirely sure why it was such a problem, him going inside. So we decided to include a lot more facial expressions within our narrative to make sure that the audience knew it was a hardship, him coming home.
All of the time that I never could.
Originally here, at this point, we would have used about 4 different bass tracks, but the audience felt that we needed to have the same location shot from 4 different angles, so we edited this into the music video instead of having 4 different locations.
My past has tasted bitter for years now.
We used the cross dissolve originally for this shot, but our audience felt that it has a negative effect on our video, so instead we decided to break it up with a bass track.
So I wield an iron fist, grace is just weakness, or so I've been told.
Before we had the mum having a go at the character, but we thought it'd be better if there was just a shot of her lying there with alcohol and cigarettes around her, just to signify things.
I've been cold, I've been merciless, but the blood on my hands scares me to death. Maybe I'm waking up today. I'll be good, I'll be good, and I'll love the world like I should.
This whole setting is a really important scene, a really important part of our video. And to get this across, our audience sort of felt we introduced it way too late in our first couple of drafts. So we decided to, in the middle of him walking to the train station, to include a scene where the audience knew exactly how important this place was to the character. So we put this scene in to make sure that it was obvious this is an important place.
I'll be good, I'll be good. I'll be good, I'll be good. For all of the light that I shut out. For all of the...
Our audience felt that they needed to see the character as remembering why he's running away while he's taking the journey into London. So we decided to put flashbacks in black and white to signify that.
In a innocent things that I doubt, all of the bruises I've caused, and the tears, all of the things that I've done, all these years.
Before we had this section of shots, we originally were focusing more on the travel aspect of the character getting to London, but the audience thought that it didn't really show his amazement that he's in London.
I'll be good, I'll be good, and
Here, we originally had just text message shots come through on the main character's phone, but a lot of the audience, when they watched it, were confused as to who exactly the person texting was. So we decided to include a shot here of the side character who turns out to be, you know, a lover or some sort of girlfriend to the main character. We decided to include her here to make it a bit more obvious to the audience that there's another important person, another important factor in the story, and not just all about the main character.
love the world like I should. Yeah, I'll be good, I'll be good all of the time. I never could.
Before we had done this, we had totally ignored the fact that we needed to include a journey back to the character's home, and the audience found it really confusing, the fact that we didn't show him returning home to visit who he was going to visit at the end of the video. So we decided to include quick shots of the journey back home, but we used the same framing and the same locations as before, so that the audience can remember that it's the place that he has gone back to, from which he came.
To start with, we had a lot of problems with the theme of our digipack, but we finally managed to settle on the brick wall idea for two reasons, really. We felt that the first reason was it's quite simple, which relates a lot to our genre. If you look at other digipacks within the same sort of music, things like James Bay, they're very simple digipacks, very artist-focused, very instrument-focused, rather than going all out on complex photography. And the second reason is we already have a brick wall bass track in our video, so having this brick wall here on the digipack links the two products together quite well.
Yeah, so originally we had a lot of use of high photoshopped images, and our audience disagreed with the use of that. They thought that it should be more simple photography, and that it would sort of go well or go better with our artist style.
And for the back cover, we had a completely different layout in terms of what picture we used, the song list, the barcode, and the copyright, and the record company. And the audience just didn't like the idea of the previous layout, as it wasn't simple enough yet effective, and it wasn't fitting with the theme of the digipack. So we completely changed the font, the picture, the style, contrast of the image, so that it would fit more into the theme of the digipack itself.
Before, our digipack was also in colour, and it didn't really work, so we had to change everything to monochrome so it fits together, because the colours were just all over the place and it didn't work.
Our audience thought it would be best to remove the social media logos, so the Spotify, the Facebook, and Twitter logos that we originally had, because they felt that it has a negative effect on it. They thought that it would be better without, because it goes with that simple theme that we're attempting to achieve.
Beforehand, there wasn't a really clear link between our digipack and our magazine advert, mainly due to photography, font style, and layout. So, and the audience felt this was a very weak point between our ancillaries. So we kept the same font, we kept the same use of the line between the font under where it says brand new album and where it says what is love, which is the album name. And this has really had a huge impact on the link between the magazine advert and the digipack.
Right at the start, the biggest problem we had really was our magazine poster looked very scattered. Audiences weren't really sure where to look when they first sort of glimpsed at it. So we introduced quite a strict visual hierarchy. So a very strict text structure, solid bold headline at the start, and then as we go down the poster, less important things, but also strict bold text to make sure that we got our information across in a very simple but effective way.
In the beginning, we had 4 ratings instead of 2, because the audience thought it would just be more simpler and effective if we took 2 out, which we did. So there's only 2 now.
Audience feedback has helped us because we learned that we should focus on one or multiple USBs. So the guitar prop that the artist has throughout each of our products, as well as the brick wall that we try and use as a main USB.
Audience feedback has told us that actually it's very important to structure everything properly and have good organizational skills. Our first couple of drafts, we had a very messy video. It wasn't very controlled camera work or editing, very long cuts. We fixed all that and greatly improved our grade. And in our magazine poster, we used the strict visual hierarchy, which incorporated a lot of structure to make sure that everyone knew exactly what was going on the poster and everyone could get the information they needed out from it straight away.
Feedback taught us that it needs to have a clear theme to fit between the 3 products, and they decided the best way to do this was to have the base tracks, magazine advert, and the digipack all in black and white. Therefore, there's a clear distinction between the narrative of the music video and how we portray the artist.
And feedback taught us that with this type of genre, simplicity is very effective. Instead of having complex images within the digipack and complex bass tracks within the music video, it's just so much better to have simple ideas that work better.